The stars had never looked so cold. Danny stood at the window of the underground bunker in Colorado, staring at the night sky. Somewhere up there, beyond what his eyes could see, 3,000 alien warships were coming to end everything humanity had ever built. He was 42 years old, a commander in what remained of Earth's military, and he had never felt so helpless in his entire life. Behind him, the command center was filled with tired faces. Men and women who had not slept in days sat at their stations, watching screens that showed nothing but bad news. The Battle of Mars had been a disaster. Earth's fleet, the pride of human engineering, had lasted less than 4 hours against the Dominion. 200 ships destroyed, 50,000 lives lost, and now there was nothing standing between Earth and total destruction. Morgan walked up beside Danny. She was younger than him, maybe 30, with short brown hair and eyes that had seen too much death in the past week. She held a tablet in her hands, and Danny could tell from her face that the news was not good. 14 hours, she said quietly. That is how long we have before they reach orbital position. After that, they will start bombing the major cities. Danny closed his eyes. 14 hours. Not enough time to evacuate anyone. Not enough time to build new weapons. Not enough time to do anything except wait for the end. What about the other species? He asked. The ones who said they would help us. Shook her head. They sent a message this morning. They are sorry, but they cannot risk war with the Dominion is too powerful. Everyone else has said the same thing. We are alone, Danny. No one is coming to save us. Danny had expected this answer, but it still hurt to hear it. Humanity had only discovered faster-than-light travel 20 years ago. They had found a galaxy full of life, hundreds of alien species spread across thousands of star systems. But they had also found the Dominion, an empire that had been conquering worlds for longer than humans had existed as a species. They did not negotiate. They did not make peace. They simply took what they wanted, and they destroyed anyone who tried to stop them. Earth had tried to stop them. Earth had failed. Danny turned away from the window and walked back to the main table, where a holographic map showed the positions of the enemy fleet. 3,000 red dots moving slowly toward the blue circle that represented home. It looked like a disease spreading through healthy tissue. There has to be something, Danny said. Some weapon we have not tried, some plan we have not thought of. An older man at the far end of the table looked up. His name was Sam Burton, and he had been a general before the war started. Now he just looked like a tired old man waiting for death. We have tried everything, Sam said. Our missiles cannot penetrate their shields. Our fighters are too slow to catch their bombers. We have nothing that can hurt them, Danny. Nothing at all. Danny slammed his fist on the table. The sound echoed through the silent room, and everyone looked at him. He did not care. He was not going to just sit here and wait for his people to die. Then we find something else, he said. Something we have not tried before, something secret. Sam laughed, but there was no humor in it. What secret? We have shown the world everything we have. There are no more surprises left. But as Sam spoke, something stirred in Danny's memory. A file he had read years ago, back when he was just a young officer with too much curiosity. A classified project that had been buried so deep that most people did not even know it existed. He had thought it was a joke at the time, a story made up by bored scientists with too much imagination. But what if it was real? Site 31, Danny said slowly. Does anyone here know about Site 31? The room went very quiet. Looked at him with confusion, but Sam's face had changed. The old general was staring at Danny with something that might have been hope or might have been fear. Where did you hear that name? Sam asked. I read about it in an old file, Danny said. Years ago, I thought it was just a story, something about a project in Nevada, something they found buried in the desert. Sam stood up from his chair. His hands were shaking. It is not a story, he said. It is real. I worked there for 2 years before they moved me to a different assignment, what they have at Site 31. "It is not from Earth, Danny. It is something else entirely." Stepped forward. "What are you talking about? What did they find?" Sam looked at her, then at Danny, then at the map showing the approaching enemy fleet. When he spoke again, his voice was barely above a whisper. 60 years ago, a team of scientists found something buried in the Nevada desert. At first, they thought it was a meteorite, but when they dug it up, they realized it was something much more important. It was a ship, Danny, an alien ship, but not like anything we have ever seen before. It was not built. It was grown, and somewhere inside it, something was sleeping. Danny felt his heart beating faster. Sleeping? What do you mean sleeping? "The ship is alive," Sam said. "Or at least it was alive once. The scientists who studied it believed it was sent to Earth thousands of years ago, before humans had even learned to write. It was a gift, they said. A weapon left here by a species that no longer exists. They called it the Sleeper." "Can it fight?" Danny asked. "Can it stop, though?" Sam shook his head. "I do not know. No one knows. They never figured out how to wake it up. The technology is too advanced. We are like children trying to understand a machine built by gods." Danny grabbed his jacket from the back of a chair. "Then we go there now," he said. "We find someone who can figure it out. We do not have any other choice." Caught his arm. "Danny, wait. Even if this ship exists, even if we can wake it up, how do we know it will help us? How do we know it will not just destroy us too?" Danny looked at her. He could see the fear in her eyes, the same fear that everyone in the room was feeling. But he could also see something else, a small spark of hope that had not been there before. "We do not know," he said honestly. "But right now, this is the only chance we have. They are coming. In 14 hours, they will start killing everyone we have ever loved. I would rather die trying to save them than sit here and watch it happen." Held his gaze for a long moment, then she nodded. "Then I am coming with you," she said. Danny did not argue. He turned to the others in the room. "Hold this position. Keep trying to contact anyone who might help. And if you do not hear from us in 12 hours, tell the world what we tried to do." Then he walked out of the bunker at his side, heading toward a ship that had been waiting in the darkness for 10,000 years. The helicopter flew low over the Nevada desert, its lights cutting through the darkness like tiny stars. Danny sat in the back, watching the empty land pass beneath them. Was beside him, her face lit by the glow of her tablet as she tried to find any information about Site-31. She was not having much success. The place had been hidden from the world for 6 decades, and whoever had hidden it had done their job well. "There is almost nothing," said, frustration clear in her voice. "A few references in old budget documents, some names of scientists who worked there years ago. Most of them are dead now." Danny nodded. He had expected as much, but there was one name he was hoping to find, one person who might still be alive. "What about Ben Carver?" he asked. "Is he still there?" Scrolled through her files. Dr. Benjamin Carver, born 1962, joined Site-31 in 1998, listed as project director starting in 2015. She paused. "According to this, he is still active, still working at the facility." That was good news. Danny had never met Ben Carver, but he had heard stories about the man. A genius who had spent his entire career trying to understand something that should not exist. If anyone could help them wake up the sleeper, it would be him. The helicopter began to descend. Below them, Danny could see a small cluster of buildings surrounded by a fence. It did not look like much, just another government facility in the middle of nowhere. But Danny knew that the real secrets were not on the surface. They were buried deep underground, hidden from satellites and curious eyes. They landed on a small concrete pad, and Danny climbed out into the cold night air. A group of soldiers was waiting for them, their faces serious. Behind them stood an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He wore a white coat and had the look of someone who had not slept properly in years. "Commander," the old man said, "I am Ben Carver. I was told you were coming." Danny shook his hand. "Thank you for seeing us, Doctor. I know this is sudden." Ben laughed, but it was a sad sound. "Sudden? Commander, I have been waiting for this day for 30 years. I always knew someone would come eventually. I just hoped it would be under better circumstances." He looked up at the sky as if he could see the enemy fleet hiding among the stars. "But I suppose we do not get to choose when the end comes." He led them inside the main building, and then down a long elevator shaft that seemed to go on forever. When the doors finally opened, Danny found himself in a massive underground chamber. The walls were lined with computers and scientific equipment, and dozens of people in white coats moved between workstations. But Danny barely noticed any of it. His eyes were fixed on the thing in the center of the room. The sleeper was beautiful. That was the only word Danny could think of. It was shaped like a teardrop, maybe 50 meters long, with a hull that seemed to shift and change color as he watched. Silver became blue, became green, became gold. It looked like liquid metal that had been frozen in time. And somehow, even though it was just sitting there doing nothing, Danny could feel that it was alive. "My God," whispered beside him. "It is real, it is actually real." Ben walked toward the ship, his footsteps echoing in the huge chamber. "We found her in 1965, he said. "A team of geologists was surveying the desert when their equipment detected something buried deep underground. It took them 3 years to dig her out. When they finally saw what they had found, they did not know whether to celebrate or run away screaming." Danny moved closer to the sleeper. Up close, he could see patterns on the hull, lines and curves that might have been writing in a language no human had ever seen. "Who built it?" he asked. "We do not know their name," Ben said. "We call them the architects. From what we have been able to learn, they were an ancient species that existed millions of years before humanity. They built great civilizations across the galaxy. And then the came. Turned to look at him, the same who are attacking us now." Ben nodded slowly. "The Dominion is old, much older than we ever imagined. They have been conquering worlds for millions of years. The architects tried to fight them just like we did, and just like us, they lost." He walked to a nearby console and pressed a few buttons. A holographic image appeared in the air, showing a planet burning, ships falling from the sky. "This is what we found in the sleeper's memory banks. The final days of the architects. They're being destroyed by weapons." Danny watched the images with horror. Cities crumbling, people running, children crying. It was exactly what would happen to Earth if they failed. "But before they died," Ben continued, "the architects did something remarkable. They built ships like this one, hundreds of them, and sent them out into the galaxy. Seeds, they called them. Gifts to young species who might one day face the same enemy they could not defeat." "Gifts," Danny said. "You mean weapons?" "More than weapons," Ben said. "The Sleeper is not just a ship, Commander. She is a partner, a guardian. She was designed to bond with a pilot, to merge with their mind and become something greater than either could be alone. But there is a cost." Stepped forward. "What kind of cost?" Ben was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy with sadness. "The bonding is permanent. Once someone connects with the Sleeper, they cannot disconnect. Their body will die, but their consciousness will live on inside the ship. They will become the ship. Forever." The chamber was silent. Danny looked at the Sleeper, at its beautiful, alien hull, and felt something cold settle in his stomach. "You are saying that whoever pilots this thing will have to sacrifice themselves?" "Yes," Ben said simply. "We have known this for years. It is why we never activated her. We could not ask someone to give up their humanity, their life, their very soul. We kept hoping we would find another way." He looked at the screens showing the approaching fleet. "But I suppose we have run out of time for hope." Danny turned away from the ship. He looked at the people working in the chamber, at the soldiers who had escorted them, at standing beside him. All of them were going to die if they did not do something. Everyone on Earth was going to die. "I will do it," he said. "No," the voice came from. She was shaking her head, her eyes bright with tears. No, Danny, you cannot. You are needed here. You are a leader. People look to you. Then they will have to look somewhere else, Danny said. Someone has to do this. Someone has to. Then let it be me. Danny stopped, was looking at him with a strange expression on her face. Not fear, not sadness, something closer to peace. I do not have anyone waiting for me, she said quietly. No family, no children, nothing holding me to this life except the people I serve with. If someone has to become this ship, it should be someone who has nothing to lose. Danny grabbed her shoulders. No, you have your whole life ahead of you. There has to be another way. But even as he said it, he knew there was not. The clock was ticking, they were coming, and the sleeper was waiting. Gently pulled away from him, she walked toward the ship, her footsteps steady and sure. When she reached the hull, she placed her hand against it, and the metal seemed to glow beneath her touch. Show me what to do, she said to Ben. And somewhere deep inside the sleeper, something ancient began to wake. The chamber at the heart of the sleeper was small and dark, stood in the center, surrounded by walls that pulsed with a soft blue light. She could feel the ship around her, not just as a machine but as a presence. Something was watching her. Something was waiting. Danny stood outside, separated from her by a wall of that strange liquid metal. He pressed his hand against it, wishing he could break through, wishing he could pull her back. But the choice had been made. Had walked into the sleeper of her own free will, and now there was nothing anyone could do but watch. Ben Carver stood at his console, his fingers moving across buttons and screens. His face was pale, and Danny could see sweat on his forehead. The bonding process will take several hours, he said. Her mind will merge with the ship's systems. She will see things no human has ever seen. She will know things no human has ever known. And when it is done, she will be something new, something more. Will it hurt? Danny asked. Ben did not answer. He did not need to. Inside the chamber closed her eyes. She thought about her life, about all the things she had done and all the things she had left undone. She thought about her parents who had died when she was young. She thought about the friends she had made in the military, the ones who had fallen at Mars, the ones who were still alive and waiting on Earth. She thought about Danny, standing just a few feet away, unable to help her. Then the first tendril touched her mind, and she stopped thinking about anything at all. The pain was beyond anything she had ever experienced. It felt like her brain was being taken apart piece by piece and put back together in a different shape. Memories flashed before her eyes. Her first day of school, her graduation from the academy, the face of a boy she had loved once, long ago. Every moment of her life played out in seconds, and then it was over and something else began. She saw the architects. They were tall and graceful, with skin like polished silver and eyes that held the light of distant stars. She watched them build great cities on 1,000 worlds. She watched them discover the secrets of the universe, unlock the power of gravity and time and space. She watched them create ships like the one she was inside, living things made of metal and light and hope. And then she watched them die. They came like a storm, endless ships darkening the skies of world after world. The architects fought bravely, but they were not warriors. They were scientists, artists, dreamers. They had never imagined that something so cruel could exist in the universe. By the time they understood the truth, it was too late. Felt their fear as their planets burned. She felt their grief as their children died. And she felt their determination as they gathered the last of their strength and built the seeds. Hundreds of ships, each one containing everything the architects had learned in their millions of years of existence. Each one sent to a different world, carrying a message that transcended language and time. We could not save ourselves. Perhaps you can save yourselves. This is our gift to you. Use it well. The visions faded and found herself floating in darkness. But she was not alone. The sleeper was with her, all around her, inside her. Their minds were touching, merging, becoming one. "Who are you?" asked, though she did not speak with her mouth. "I am what remains of those who came before. I am the weapon they could not use in time. I am the guardian they left for the children they would never meet. And what am I now? You are the shepherd, the one who guides me. Together we are something new, something they have never faced. Opened her eyes, but they were not her eyes anymore. They were the eyes of the ship, looking out at a universe filled with light and color and meaning. She could see the underground chamber where Danny was standing, his face twisted with worry. She could see the soldiers and scientists, their hearts beating fast with fear and hope. She could see through the rock and sand above them, up through the atmosphere, out into the void of space where 3,000 enemy ships were waiting. And she could see the path that would take her to them. In the chamber, the sleeper began to glow. The soft blue light grew brighter, filling every corner, forcing Danny and the others to shield their eyes. The walls began to move, the liquid metal flowing like water, reshaping itself into something new. She is waking up, Ben whispered. After all these years, she is finally waking up. The ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere far above, the desert floor began to crack and split apart. The sleeper was rising, pushing through millions of tons of rock and sand as if they were nothing more than paper. Danny ran to the surface, climbing the emergency stairs 3 at a time. When he burst out into the night air, he stopped and stared. The sleeper hung above the desert like a silver moon. She was larger than before, her hull expanded and reshaped into something that looked less like a teardrop and more like a bird of prey. Wings of light extended from her sides, and patterns of energy danced across her surface like lightning frozen in time. Danny said, "Can you hear me?" The answer came not from the ship but from all around him, a voice that was and nots at the same time, echoing through every speaker and every radio and every device within 100 miles. "I hear you, Danny. I hear everything now. I can feel the fear of everyone on Earth. I can feel the hatred of their hunger for destruction, their belief that nothing can stop them." A pause. "They are wrong." The sleeper began to move, rising higher and higher into the sky. The air around her crackled with energy, and the stars above seemed to bend toward her, as if the universe itself was making room for something that had not existed for millions of years. "Wait," Danny called out. "What are you going to do?" "What I was made to do," the shepherd replied. "What the architects created me to do. They killed my creators. They burned their worlds and scattered their ashes across the void. They believed they had won forever, but they forgot something important." "What?" Danny asked. The sleeper paused, hovering at the edge of space, looking down at the tiny humans below and the vast enemy fleet ahead. They forgot that the dead can still fight. They forgot that hope can survive even the darkest night. They forgot that every act of cruelty creates the seeds of its own destruction. The wings of light spread wider, and the sleeper began to accelerate, moving faster and faster until she was just a streak of silver against the black sky. "Tell Earth to watch," the shepherd said. "Tell them to see what happens when the prey becomes the predator. Tell them that Morgan sends her regards." And then she was gone, folding through space in a way that human physics could not explain, appearing instantly at the edge of the solar system where the Armada waited. 3,000 warships. One single guardian. The battle was about to begin. Admiral stood on the bridge of the Dominion flagship, watching the blue planet grow larger on his screen. He had conquered 23 worlds in his long career, and this one would be number 24. The humans had fought bravely at Mars, he would give them that. Their ships were primitive, their weapons laughable, but they had not run away. They had faced his fleet with courage, even knowing they could not win. It almost made him sad to destroy them. Almost. "Admiral," one of his officers called out, "we are detecting an unusual energy signature at the edge of the system." Turned his large head, his yellow eyes narrowing. "What kind of energy signature?" "Unknown, sir. Our sensors cannot identify it. It appeared suddenly as if something just arrived." Felt a small flicker of concern. They had ruled the stars for millions of years. There was nothing in the galaxy they had not seen, nothing their sensors could not identify. For something to be truly unknown was almost impossible. "Show me," he ordered. The main screen changed, zooming in on the edge of the solar system. At first, saw nothing but empty space. Then he noticed a tiny speck of silver, barely visible against the darkness. It was moving toward the fleet at incredible speed. "One ship," he said, confusion in his voice. "They are sending one ship against us." Before anyone could answer, the first reports started coming in. Ships on the outer edge of the fleet were going dark, not exploding, not retreating, simply ceasing to exist. "Admiral, the Crusher has stopped responding. The Iron Fist has lost all power. The Harbinger is—" The officer stopped, his voice shaking. "The Harbinger is gone, sir. Our sensors show nothing where it used to be." Grabbed the edge of his command console. "What do you mean, gone? Ships do not just disappear." But even as he spoke, more reports flooded in. 10 ships lost, 20, 50. The crews had no time to send distress signals, no time to fire a single weapon. Whatever was attacking them was moving too fast to see, striking too quickly to stop. The Shepherd flew through the enemy fleet like a ghost. She did not think about what she was doing. She simply acted, her mind and the ship's systems working together in perfect harmony. The shields, which had stopped every weapon humanity had ever built, meant nothing to her. She passed through them as if they were not there. The Sleeper's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen in millions of years. They did not fire beams of energy or launch missiles of destruction. They sang, a frequency that vibrated at the exact wavelength needed to tear metal apart at the molecular level. The enemy ships did not explode. They simply fell apart, dissolving into clouds of dust that drifted away into space. Was somewhere inside the Shepherd, watching through eyes that were no longer human. She felt no joy in the destruction. She felt no anger or hatred or revenge. She felt only purpose. This was what she had been made to do. This was why the architects had sacrificed everything to create the seeds, not for conquest, not for glory, but for protection, for hope. Admiral watched his fleet die. Ship after ship blinked out of existence, and he could do nothing to stop it. He screamed orders at his officers, demanded that they find the enemy, target it, destroy it. But how could they destroy something they could not even see? "All ships, concentrate fire on the center of the attack zone," he bellowed. "Fill that space with everything we have." 1,000 warships turned their weapons on the area where their companions had been dying. Beams of energy lanced through space. Missiles by the millions screamed toward their target. The firepower released in those few seconds was enough to destroy a small moon. And then the Sleeper appeared. She hung motionless in the center of the firestorm, her silver hull glowing with absorbed energy. The beams that struck her did not bounce off or burn through. They were simply eaten, swallowed by a ship that had been designed to face weapons far more terrible than anything the possessed. On Earth, Danny watched through a satellite feed that could barely capture what was happening. The images were blurry, distorted by the incredible energies being released. But he could see enough. He could see the fleet, which had seemed so unstoppable just hours ago, being torn apart like paper in a hurricane. "My God," he whispered, "what is she doing to them?" Ben Carver stood beside him, tears rolling down his old face. "She is doing what she was built to do, what the architects dreamed of doing before they destroyed them. She is showing them that they are not gods. She is showing them that they can be hurt." The Sleeper released the energy she had absorbed. It came out as a wave of pure white light, spreading in all directions at once. Every ship it touched went dark, their systems overloaded, their weapons useless. The great warships that had conquered 1,000 worlds drifted helplessly through space, as dangerous as floating rocks. Admiral felt his flagship shudder as the wave struck. The lights on his bridge flickered and died. The screens went black. For the first time in his long life, he knew what it felt like to be completely helpless. "Emergency power," he screamed. "Get me emergency power now." But before his crew could respond, the sleeper appeared directly in front of his bridge. She filled the entire, her silver hull so close that could see his own reflection in it. And then a voice spoke, not through his speakers but directly into his mind. "You believed you were the strongest. You believed nothing could challenge your dominion. You were wrong." Tried to speak, but no words came out. The voice continued, calm and cold and utterly without mercy. "The beings who created me tried to make peace with you. They offered friendship, cooperation, a chance to share the wonders of the universe. You answered with fire. You burned their worlds and killed their children and laughed at their pain." The sleeper's hull began to glow brighter. "They are gone now. Nothing remains of them except me, but I remember. I remember everything they suffered, every tear they cried, every scream they screamed, and I have waited 10,000 years for this moment." Found his voice at last. "Please," he begged, "mercy, show mercy." The shepherd paused. Inside the ship, considered the alien's words. She had absorbed the memories of the architects, felt their pain and their fear. A part of her wanted to destroy every ship, to wipe them from existence the way they had wiped out so many others. But that was not what the architects had wanted. That was not why they had created the seeds. "Mercy is a human concept," the shepherd replied. "The architects did not understand it, but the one who guides me does." The sleeper began to pull back. "Take your remaining ships. Leave this system. Tell your masters what happened here today. Tell them that Earth is under my protection. Tell them that if they ever return, I will not be so kind." Admiral did not need to be told twice. The surviving ships of his fleet, less than 500 out of 3,000, turned and fled as fast as their damaged engines could carry them. They did not look back. The battle had lasted less than 20 minutes. The Dominion had suffered its first defeat in over 1,000,000 years. And somewhere in the cold void of space, inside a ship made of ancient dreams and human sacrifice, Morgan smiled. It was done. The sun rose over the Nevada desert, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Danny stood on the roof of Site 31, watching the horizon and waiting. He had not slept in over 40 hours, but he did not feel tired. He felt something he had almost forgotten how to feel. He felt hope. The world had changed overnight. News of the battle had spread across Earth within minutes, carried by every news channel, every social media platform, every word of mouth from one human to another. The enemy fleet that had seemed so unstoppable had been destroyed. Earth had been saved. And the hero who had done it was a young woman named Morgan, who had given up everything to protect a species she loved. But the story was not over yet. Danny heard a sound in the sky, a soft hum that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. He looked up and saw the sleeper descending through the morning clouds. She was different now, her hull shifting through colors like a rainbow made of metal. She settled gently onto the desert floor, and for a long moment nothing happened. Then the voice came, echoing through the air around him. "Hello, Danny." Danny walked toward the ship. His feet kicked up small clouds of dust and his heart beat fast in his chest. "Is that really you?" A section of the hull opened, revealing a space that glowed with soft blue light. The voice came from inside, warm and familiar despite its strange echoes. "It is me, or at least the part of me that matters most, the part that remembers being human." Danny stepped into the light. He found himself in a small chamber, the walls alive with patterns and colors. There was no body inside, no physical form he could touch or hold. But somehow he could feel his presence all around him, as real as if she were standing beside him. "I thought I would lose you," he said quietly. "When you walked into the ship, I thought you would be gone forever." "A part of me is gone," the shepherd admitted. "The part that could walk in the sun and feel the wind on my face. The part that could eat chocolate cake and laugh at bad jokes and cry at sad movies. But the important things are still here, Danny. The love I feel for my friends, the duty I feel to protect innocent people, the hope I have for the future, those things did not die. They just changed. Danny felt tears running down his face. He did not wipe them away. What happens now? They are defeated, but they will come back. They will want revenge. Perhaps, the shepherd said, but they will think twice before attacking Earth again. I hurt them badly, Danny. I did not just destroy their ships. I destroyed their belief that they were invincible. That wound will take a long time to heal. She paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was softer, almost human. But more than that, what happened here will spread. They have enemies throughout the galaxy, species they have conquered and enslaved for millions of years. When those species hear that a single ship defeated the Dominion's greatest armada, they will start to wonder. They will start to hope. And hope is a dangerous thing, Danny. Hope can change everything. Danny nodded slowly. He understood what she was saying. This was not just about Earth anymore. This was about the entire galaxy, about all the beings who lived under the shadow of tyranny. One victory would not end the war, but it would show everyone that victory was possible. There is something else, the shepherd continued. Something the architects knew but did not live long enough to tell anyone. The seeds they sent out across the galaxy. There are others. Hundreds of ships like me, buried on hundreds of worlds, waiting for the moment when they are needed. Danny's eyes widened. Other sleepers, there are more of them. Yes, I can feel them now, sleeping beneath alien sands and frozen moons and the depths of distant oceans. They have been waiting for millions of years, just like I was. And when news of what happened here reaches them, some of them will begin to wake. The thought was almost too big to understand. An army of ancient ships, scattered across the stars, each one powerful enough to stand against an entire fleet. The architects had not just created one guardian. They had created a network, a web of protection that spanned the galaxy. They have no idea what is coming, Danny said quietly. No, the shepherd agreed. They think they defeated the architects forever. They think they destroyed everything our creators built. But they were wrong. The architect's greatest creation was not a weapon or a ship or a technology. It was a gift of hope, given freely to strangers they would never meet, in the belief that kindness and courage could survive even the darkest times. She paused again, and when she spoke, her voice was filled with something like wonder. Humans are strange, Danny. You are young and foolish, and you fight among yourselves over things that do not matter. But you also dream of better things. You help each other without being asked. You sacrifice yourselves for people you do not even know. The architects saw this in you when they sent me to Earth. They believed you were worth saving. Danny smiled through his tears. Were they right? Ask me again in 1,000 years, the shepherd said, and he could hear old humor in the words. But so far I would say yes. You are worth saving, all of you. In the weeks that followed, the world began to change. The Dominion, shocked by their defeat, pulled back from 3-star systems they had been threatening. Alien species that had ignored humanity's calls for help suddenly wanted to talk. Diplomatic envoys arrived from a dozen different civilizations, all of them eager to meet the small, young species that had done the impossible. But the biggest change was in humanity itself. For the first time in their history, humans truly understood that they were not alone in the universe. There were threats out there, yes, but there were also allies, guardians, friends waiting to be made. The stars were not empty and cold. They were full of life and possibility and hope. The shepherd remained on Earth, resting in the Nevada desert but always watching. She spoke to Danny sometimes, late at night when the world was quiet. They talked about the past and the future, about old life and her new one, about what it meant to be human and what it meant to be something more. And somewhere far away in the cold depths of space, Admiral knelt before the High Council of the Dominion. He told them what had happened, showed them the recordings of his fleet being destroyed by a single ship. The council listened in silence, their ancient faces showing no emotion. When finished speaking, the eldest member of the council leaned forward. His voice was like stone grinding against stone. "This is impossible," he said. "We destroyed the architects. We destroyed everything they built. How can this ship exist?" Lowered his head. "I do not know, High One, but it does exist. I saw it with my own eyes. I felt its power in my mind." The council exchanged looks. For the first time in millions of years, they felt something they had not felt since they were young and weak and afraid. They felt doubt. "We will investigate this matter," the eldest said at last. "We will find this ship and destroy it. The Dominion does not know fear. We do not know defeat." But his words rang hollow in the great chamber, and everyone who heard them knew the truth. Everything had changed. On Earth, the sun set over the Nevada desert. The sleeper glowed softly in the fading light, her silver hull reflecting the colors of the sky. Inside her, the shepherd watched the stars begin to appear, one by one, like old friends coming out to say hello. "What are you thinking about?" Danny asked. "I am thinking about the future," the shepherd replied. "About all the things we will do and all the people we will meet. About the battles we will fight and the friends we will make. About what it means to be human in a universe that is so much bigger than anyone ever imagined." Danny looked up at the darkening sky. "And what does it mean?" The shepherd was quiet for a long moment. When she finally answered, her voice was soft and full of wonder. "It means that we are never alone. It means that even when everything seems lost, there is always a chance. It means that love and courage and sacrifice are not just words. They are the most powerful forces in the universe." The stars grew brighter, and somewhere among them, the first of the other seeds began to stir. A new dawn was rising. Not just for Earth. For everyone.